because hyperventilation lowers carbon dioxide, one of the things that it does, remember I said it's like putting oil in your car, like it makes things run smoothly. When you don't have enough carbon dioxide, smooth muscle starts to tighten. So the smooth muscle wrapped around the airways tightens. It might also tighten, there's smooth muscle wrapped around your blood vessels. So if that tightens, that might put your blood pressure up. There's smooth muscle wrapped around your digestive tract. So if that tightens, it's going to cause you problems maybe with your digestion. It's also in the brain, heart. There's all kinds of places you're going to find smooth muscle. The other main thing that happens when carbon dioxide lowers is that we get an increase in histamine. So you know, if you get bitten by a mosquito, you get that swelling and heat and redness. That's caused by histamine. And histamine also makes smooth muscle tighten. It causes the airways to become inflamed, and it increases mucus production. And of course, if you're breathing 3 times more air than you need to, then you're also going to be increasing the volume of the irritants that upset you, like cat dander and things like that. Okay, and the other problem that Buteyko found with asthma management is the drugs that are used to treat it. So most people quite readily take the medications on the other side. Are you familiar with those names, like Ventolin, albuterol, that's the same thing, Bricanol, you have that here, Ceravent and Oxys. Most people quite like taking those sorts of drugs because they open up the airways. What's that going to make you do you think? If breathing too much causes you to lose carbon dioxide, what's going to that do? Make it worse. But we take them because they make us feel good. And also, you know, you don't breathe, you die. That's where sort of taught that. The other types of medication are the preventers, and most of the usual preventers are steroids. So that's like the Flovent, Pulmicort, Qvar, prednisone. Now the whole point of taking the preventers is to stop you needing the bronchodilators. But many people won't take the steroids because they hear about the side effects, or they experience the side effects. You know, like you've been taking them for a while and someone pokes you and you bruise, or you get thrush in your throat. And people, of course, are afraid also of osteoporosis, you know, cataracts and things like that, which can be caused by steroids. But what Dr. Buteyko found was it was the overuse of the bronchodilators, the ones on the left side, that make asthma get worse. He found this out many years ago, but it was actually proven in a study in New Zealand that was published in the Lancet in December 1990. So they showed got a group of people, and they gave half of them quite a strong bronchodilator and the other half a placebo, and then halfway through the trial they switched them over. Neither group knew what they were taking. And both groups, when they were taking the real drug, actually had worse asthma than when they were taking the placebo. So after that was published, it became like there were several other studies done soon after, and it's become really international asthma management to try to get people to take the drugs on this side of the screen rather than the other ones. What Buteyko believed is that asthma is caused as a direct response from breathing too much and losing too much carbon dioxide. Now if we keep this little bank, the air in our lungs, at the little things that look like cauliflowers, or you know, the air sacs at the end of your airways, I think you might say alveoli, yep, alveoli, they have more carbon dioxide in there than in the atmosphere around us, because we have to make our own carbon dioxide. Okay, oxygen gets into the tissue cells, it combines with sugar, it makes carbon dioxide, water and heat or energy. And so we keep this special bank of carbon dioxide in our lungs. And if we've got the right amount of carbon dioxide in the air sacs, we'll have the right amount of carbon dioxide in the blood. which means that the oxygen then can get into the tissues and make more carbon dioxide, and so it's like a really good system. But if you breathe too much, and especially if you're taking lots of bronchodilators, then you're going to let out more of this carbon dioxide, and so the airways then have to squeeze to trap it. What are the kinds of things that give you asthma? Cold air? Yep. 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 Yep.
Exercise.
Okay, so, and then there's probably like a whole range of foods and drinks and, you know, all kinds of things. But the way that most of us look at it, these things are called triggers. Okay, and I just said what gives you the symptoms. So the symptoms would be like chest tightness, coughing, too much mucus, shortness of breath, those sorts of things. So the way that we feel about these things is that the triggers make those symptoms happen. Okay, you pat the cat, the next minute you're wheezing and it's difficult to breathe, so the cat gave me asthma. And then you might notice that because it's hard to breathe, what do you do next? Before you take your Ventolin or you try and breathe more because it feels right. Does it work?
You have to, when you get the constriction and the fluid build up, you got to suck in the air to try to breathe.
Does it help?
No.
No, that's right. It doesn't. So this is the way that it feels right. Okay, this is the way that we feel about the asthma. What Buteyko says is it goes the other way. The triggers, like the cats or the exercise or whatever they are, they make us breathe too much because they create stress on the body. They activate the fight or flight response. Because you're breathing too much, you're starting to increase cool down and dry out your airways. You're starting to lose carbon dioxide. And so the airways say, hey, we better stop this. Because one of the things that Dr. Buteyko found was that a man, an American called Yandel Henderson, he killed dogs by breathing them to death in the early 1900s. What he did was he essentially proved that Bohr effect. The Christian Bohr discovered in the 1890s that if you breathe too much, you lose carbon dioxide and you can't get your oxygen into the tissues. So Yandel Henderson came along and said, okay, let's see if it works, and it did. And so that you can't kill yourself by breathing too much. So the airways start to constrict, which we call asthma. But even people who don't have asthma, if they breathe too much, their airways are going to tighten. But not being able to breathe easily is scary, and sometimes it's hard work, so that in itself is stressful. And so it really goes this way.